you know, there has been an uproar, say it's by members of the PDP, but whether or not it's by members of the PDP, you also have the electorate involved here. The PDP will also know why they've stayed on the matter. They have presented this as a matter that borders on upholding the rule of law, of, you know, some people not being more equal than others, about everybody being equal before the law. When it comes to a matter like this, should we really be excusing any candidate? I mean, if not for anything else, one would wonder why we just would not put a stop or an end to this controversy by simply presenting the certificate.
Believe me, if Buhari has chosen to ignore this, he knows why he has done, why he's doing just this. Because INEC constitutionally is entrusted with the responsibility to screen the qualifications of anyone bidding for any elective post in this country. And why don't we just leave the responsibility? That responsibility.
INEC says they don't have any such responsibilities left for the political parties. What INEC does have is for the political parties to submit the names of their candidates and the prerequisite, the required qualifications, and it's INEC's duty to publish it. That is INEC's duty.
Yes, yes. INEC's duty is to publish it. As INEC found Buhari qualified to bid for this office, if there are question marks, excuse me, if there are question marks on his candidacy, let PDP go to court and let the court resolve this matter once and for all. We still have credible judges around.
Do we really need to go to the court to solve such a simple matter?
Let me tell you, why wouldn't these parties focus on the real issues that concern you and I? I mean, the economy is in shambles. Excuse me, the educational sector is not doing well.
Let us
the judiciary staff, Union of Nigeria, you know, on strike. Staff of federal medical centers all over the country are on strike, and so on and so forth.
Let's take one major issue. I mean, one major issue is security. We've heard General Muhammadu Buhari say that he will quell insurgency if elected into office. Isn't that a lofty promise in the sense that we all know the nature of insurgency and how it is difficult to quell? We've seen how it happened in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and we see how many states, even advanced countries, just recently we saw what happened in France, struggle to ensure that, you know, they hold terrorism in check. Isn't it a lofty promise to say that it will stop terrorism?
Yes, I'm happy you ended up with the example of France. How many days did it take to get at those guys that went into Charlie Hebdo to shoot people? Barely 3 days. That shows the commitment of a government to security.
Let us also...
Excuse me. It shows the quality of the... Excuse me.
We can't take away from that.
I'm coming, but shouldn't I respond to your question?
You've answered my question.
Not yet.
You have answered my question because what you've raised is, I want you to take into cognizance some other points. In the sense that Nigeria is not France. We're not at the level of France. France is a developed country. I'm wondering if you agree with me.
But
France, just a moment.
That is what is called universality of technology.
It's a developed country, and that Nigeria is not yet at that level in terms of infrastructure. Do you really think that we can meet that level of that requirement of France where we are currently?
In Nigeria, we have always talked about educationally disadvantaged states. For how long are we going to continue to describe some sections of the country as educationally disadvantaged states? Look, in this age, you don't need much of educational qualification, for instance, to end up as an IT expert. You don't even have to be a physics student. So look, let me tell you, the reality on ground is that, look, Buhari has come out to say, yes, I'm going to quell this insurgency within a reasonable measure of time. Does he have the qualification? That is the question that I think we should ask. He's a retired military, he's a retired general. And he did say clearly, and the media are the witnesses, that he's going to consult with some other retired military officers, retired and serving military officers, to be able to come up with a decisive policy to address this issue. And mind you, Nigeria has a dependable record of quelling insurgencies. You forgot in Maitasini?
That was during Shagaristan, right?
Yeah, but Buhari was also part. It was in the military then. He
was not the commander-in-chief.
But have you forgotten that at some point he was called in and he participated,
Is
and he actually was part of the flushing out of this insurgents?
Was it an insurgent group? I mean, we've never seen a case where we've had suicide bombers, 10-year-olds walking into a market and detonating themselves.
Let me tell you.
I think that we should be able to differentiate very clearly between a riot and insurgency.
Let's be qualitative comments. Shakespeare says that things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. You have a small problem at hand. You refuse to attend to it. You are indifferent to it. Obviously, that problem will grow large, and it might become so big for you to manage at the end of the day, and then you begin to tell the world that you are helpless. This is what has happened. The media reported, that there were problems in the military. That some high officers in the military were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, and that's what was responsible for the low morale of the foot soldiers. There were some other problems that the media have raised, from time to time. This government, rather than attend to some of these issues, Labaran Maku, the same Maku that has defected to Abga, came out to say that he had come to identify some sections of the media as saboteurs.
Let me comment here quickly.
Publishing information that will...
We're closing down, and the media and the military, you just mentioned two key institutions here. And for Ijoma, I wanted to share her view. The media first broke the story about Buhari's certificate, not the PDP. And for her, it's about the military as an institution. Is it possible that General Buhari got into the military through the back door, was pushed through the rank, and at the end of the day, he had so many other qualifications, but the basics at the entry level was never there for him? And now what has come to the fore, because he still hasn't spoken till now, that is just people like yourself, a couple of others, his political party, that happens speaking. Do you think she was wrong in her analysis by saying perhaps he doesn't have it at the entry level?
If I were in his shoes, I would probably have taken the same position, because if I consider a matter so irrelevant, I will simply ignore it and address the real issues. Excuse me.
Sorry, you consider a legal requirement and an Electoral Act requirement
irrelevant?
Irrelevant?
If you are aggrieved, go to court so that we can resolve it.
Wait. Are you saying that if everybody else toes your line, we will have the rule of force in this country and not rule of law anymore?
No, please mind my position. There are requirements. Before I enrolled, there were requirements before I enrolled as an undergraduate at the University of Ilorin, where I did my first degree. And I graduated from that university having been admitted. And I also happen to be a British Chevening scholar.
Based on your qualifications or your qualifications?
And yes. And I also happen, it may interest you, to be a British Chevening scholar. And there were requirements. No holder of a third-class degree will be awarded British Chevening. Somebody wants to come out into the open to say that that gentleman who claims to have schooled in England never went there. You think I will honor him, I will dignify him by reacting?
Is it the same thing here?
It is.
But they say it's not, because you submitted your qualifications. That's why the University of Ilorin admitted you.
Yes.
Upon which you now moved on.
Yes.
And got the Chevening scholarship.
Yes.
In this case, if you don't submit it, and then you say, well, you don't consider it that serious, so you should move on.
So who has come up with the information that I didn't submit? If anyone has that information, this is the essence of investigative journalism, my brother.
Yeah, but it's all there in the public. INEC doesn't have a copy of his credentials. What they have is an affidavit.
And INEC is agreeing to featuring him as a presidential candidate.
Do they have the power to disqualify candidates?
Well, I'm not a lawyer.
But they don't. That's what the Electoral Act says. They themselves have said it. Well, we can just act on what they submit. If anyone is aggrieved, it's up to them to go to court if they want.
So let PDP go to court.
Should he submit this and clear this if he has it?
Well, but I mean, that's left to him.
No, I'm asking your opinion.
Yes.
I mean,
if he has
so far all these arguments, which
Yes.
some people say, look, this is irrelevant.
I personally fully subscribe to the rule of law. And I have done that all my life. And I want to believe that having caused through all that he had gone through, he should be able to know what he should do to, at the end of the day, be able to contest this election. It's not...
Let us also bear in mind, that this debate is also reaching within the electorate. Yes, it was raised by a political party, but now it's been brought to the level of the electorate. So you find that, voters, potential voters, are discussing this amongst themselves as to, what issue this could be. We also saw that in the United States, when whether the president was truly a citizen of the United States, qualified. People said at the end of the day when he released his birth certificate that it was totally unnecessary.
He didn't.
Yeah, he did.
The media, the media actually investigated and they came up with the fact. As a matter of fact, a multi-billionaire businessman had come up with this allegation and made so much noise about it that the entire world almost believed that indeed it was true.
Did the certificate, was it produced or not?
Well,
Did it put paid to people's doubts or not?
What I'm saying is this. If the law says he must submit all of those qualifications that he has had, yes, he has to defer to the law.
Okay, Mr. Tunde Akanni, I'm afraid we have to let it go there.
Yeah.
Tunde Akanni is a development activist and a journalist. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks.
We'll be back after this break. Please join us again.